And the ABC has been criticised for only allowing Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to apply for a national position at the national broadcaster. The role is for a news producer based in Sydney, but an unnamed white journalist looking for work was shocked to see that she couldn't apply. And it appears she's not alone. The Institute of Public Affairs of Australia's Evan Mulholland called it outrageous. The ABC defended the application, saying they're required to promote equal opportunities at the network. Ben, what do you think about this? I think we're all on the same page about diversity and the need for diversity in the workplace, but especially in these tough times, should we be stopping the person with the most experience from applying? And I'm not saying an Indigenous person wouldn't have more experience, but we're certainly saying that white people need not apply, basically. This is tough.
Which is fine. I think we have to move into dangerous territory here. And when we're looking for diversity and employing people that represent all Australians, it's important for us to make sure that that is definitely seen. I've got a friend of mine who runs a business, and she has gone out of her way to represent diversity amongst her work, in her workplace. And she's been recognised for that with awards, which is great. But it is a difficult and tricky situation. Sometimes when you cut this up, it can look really bad. But what we do need to see on the ABC and on TV is a diverse reflection of society. And sometimes that means that we're only looking for something quite specific. So I'm okay with it.
What's your thought, Robert? Obviously, you could never do it the other way. Only white people need apply. But the ABC does have a lot of diversity. If you look at some of the people on the ABC, this is going to sound terrible, but, with commercial TV, part of the look, it's not just your journalistic credentials, it's the look as well, that polished look. We certainly see a lot of people on the ABC that don't have that polished look. So does the ABC need more diversity? Is this the right path?
Absolutely, it is. Hats off to the ABC. This is what we need in more media in Australia. The fact is that Indigenous people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, just don't get the same opportunities as white people do. That's fact. That's not something that you can try and dredge through the mud. That this bloody Murdoch paper, no surprises from the bloody Telegraph that they're having a go at the ABC about actually doing something right for the community.
They didn't actually have a go. They reported a fact, and I think this is a fact that a lot of people watching this show would actually be interested in.
Yeah, but it's interesting badly. That it's a Murdoch against the ABC. But anyway, moving away from that, I believe that this is a really good thing that's happening. There should be jobs like this, especially within government, which the ABC is, but it should be across all media, that we're only allowing a certain person because we're giving them a chance where they haven't had a chance before. And I think that's really important. And I really like this. And there's nothing to harp on about. There's nothing to whinge about. There's no negatives to this. There are only positives, and I'm fully behind it.
Well, that's your opinion, obviously, but I can totally see the other side of the fence where people would look at that and say, and these people who wanted to apply for this job, media jobs are really hard to come by now, and if you've got a wealth of experience, it doesn't necessarily mean you can get a job. And when there is a job available, for that job to be declared Indigenous only, it is a tough pill to swallow for the people out of work.
It's a step in the right direction
during this time.
It is a step in the right. No, it's a step in the right direction, and also the fact, like I said, Indigenous people, First Nations people of Australia, have never gotten the opportunities that white people do. So yes, I feel for this white journalist who wouldn't be able to apply for this job, but it's important that it's opened up because we don't hire people of colour in this country. Look at that report that came out a few weeks ago.
I just want to be clear on this.
There was a report
to basically say whites need not apply.
Been pretty clear about that one. Yep. That this is a particular job that they're saying that they would like a person of colour to be part of it, Indigenous, Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, whatever. They want that person to apply. They're creating a safe space, essentially, for someone of colour to get that position that otherwise in other media organisations or in other businesses really in Australia.
We've seen situations at SBS which you would think would be the most diverse place where previous Indigenous Australians have complained that they were treated like the token black and even introduced, this is our Indigenous person, like they'd been marked off a checkboard. Just because you give a job to an Indigenous person doesn't mean you're fixing the issue. And we've seen that at SBS, where the issue was actually made worse because they felt like an outsider and they felt like they were just checking a box for diversity.
Yeah, but these are the way in which you treat people in a workplace once they get into the role. That's a completely different story, and that needs to be tackled differently as well. Nobody needs to have them, oh, this is the black person. We know that's wrong. But Rob, what I would love to say to you is it's kind of very similar to the way in which sometimes we got really confused with All Lives Matter. And I got confused with that very briefly, and a friend of mine corrected it. But it's very much in that same vein where it is Black Lives Matter, because we do need to make the difference. Saying that, we would never switch it the other way is absolutely true. We would never switch it the other way. So I just think you need to be really careful heading into this territory, because in actual fact, in the workplace, in all jobs, not media, we should reflect society. And society is made up of very, very different people than what we have been seeing reflected in senior roles.
Yes. And can I just go on from that, Rob? So white people, they're getting offended. You're getting offended. You think it should be open to everyone. Welcome to not getting a job.
Don't put words in my mouth, Robbo. I'm playing the advocate of people who might think a certain way.
You sounded offended. It's probably good for you to clarify that.
Welcome to not getting a job because of your race, something that people of colour have had to live with for their entire lives.
I understand that, but does that mean we're allowed to put the shoe on the other foot?
Well, yeah, I think it is.
Because of generations of horrific way people a race have been treated, we're now saying that because you're white, you're allowed to be treated like shit. Because people of previous generations were treated like shit, and I do not dispute. People of colour all around the world have been treated terribly.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.